Welcome back to Conquest Creations, and in this video, we have Gondor going up against the Last Alliance. In the Conquest Champions Battle Report League, I've taken 8 tournament veterans and pitted them against each other in an elimination tournament. If you want to get the rundown on every player and their army list, then follow the link in the description down below. But in this game, we have Henry, the Conquest Challenger, who defeated me earlier this year in a 3-part mini-series playing his Gondor. When he was introducing his army list, he made this statement.
On my list, I've got Boromir, Horseland, Shield. Never take the banner. Kids, never take the banner.
And boy, did that cause some waves on the internet. For those of you who don't know, Boromir's banner gives +1 fight to everyone within 6 inches of him, but it means he can't take a lance for +1 to wound on the charge. This was a very controversial statement, and the comment sections let Henry know about it. So we're going to see if he proves them wrong, or if the comments were right after all. And Henry is going up against Brodie, the rookie, who went out in the very first game of Season 1 of the Conquest Champions League, so he's back and he's got to prove himself. Brodie is playing a very familiar list. He's taken my exact same Last Alliance army that I played last season in the Conquest Champions League. I managed to come second place with it, so the pressure's on Brodie. It's going to be interesting to see if the army does the work or if the pilot does the work.
Hi there, I'm Henry. So my list today is a very simple Gondor list. So I've got Boromir with Horseland, Shield, no banner. I've got him with 3 knights. I then have Tyrion with 3 warriors of Minas Tirith, 3 rangers. I've then got Baragon mounted, 3 warriors, 3 with spear, and then a fountain court with a banner. Then I've got Damrod with 3 sick guard with bows who have got a little bit of hitting power range. Hit hard, hit fast, use that might, and break the army as quickly as possible. That's my goal.
Hey guys, it's Brodie here. Today I'm going to be playing a Last Alliance list. I will be going up against a Gondorian list, which is slightly concerning as a result of the numbers. However, I feel like I stand a solid chance given the fact that I've got some solid hitting power and some high fight models. My hope in this game is that I can use all of my higher fight models and my higher strength in the Númenórean warriors just to be able to hold a lot of the Gondor warriors at bay, while I have my Númenórean captain in Gil-galad just kind of flank the side of the battlefield to allow me to slowly crunch off all of those models.
And our battlefield for today is the outskirts of a Rohan village. There's a lot of buildings on this board as well as a river down the middle. In the Conquest Champions League, 3 scenarios are determined at random. Then each player takes turn vetoing a scenario. This ensures it's balanced for everyone and makes for a much more interesting game. 3 randomly generated scenarios are Breakthrough, To the Death, and Clash by Moonlight. Henry, you have to veto first. Which one are you vetoing?
I'm getting rid of Clash by Moonlight.
Alright, and Brodie?
I'm getting rid of Breakthrough.
So that means To the Death. Just a straight up fight. The Conquest Champions League is brought to you by the Kingdom of Saxonia Kickstarter. This is a project that we have made here at Conquest Creations. It's a bunch of fantasy-inspired STL files that you can 3D print and use for your wargaming. As you can see, there's several different buildings and there's a lot more on the way, including the Great Hall and our modular walls. If you want a free sample of the project, you can find a link to this house that you can download for free today. And if you're interested in seeing this project when it comes out, follow the link in the description and it'll take you to our waiting page. Thank you so much, and let's get into the battle report. Brodie won the roll-off for deployment, and he's just chucking his first warband down, led by Gil-galad, with all the elves in the back quarter of the board. Henry responded to this just by dropping down one of his micro warbands, led by one of those minor heroes from Gondor, with just a few archers. And then Brodie had to go with the rest of his army, which was the Númenórean warband, who just went straight down the middle from where those archers were set up. I do wish he'd put them with the elves. Now, Henry responded, he has a lot more warbands, so it's nice that he has full control over the rest of his deployment. And he's just filling out his battle lines here. At this point in the game, Henry's got to feel good about his shooting power. He's got more bows, and he's got a really nice spot to set up. And this is him after deployment. That's the start of the game. Let's see first turn priority. Alright, goes to the Last Alliance. And Brodie's move started exactly how we'd expect. He's just pushing forwards with his Númenóreans. Henry has the shooting superiority, so Brodie needs to get forward somehow. and the elves are coming forwards as well. It's really important with this army that you link up the elves and the Numenorians, because together they have more powerful synergy. And this is what it looks like after Brodie's movement. So now it's Henry's turn, and Henry doesn't have a lot to move here. He's just sending some of his knights to shift around. They're so fast they can move again later. So Henry's shooting phase now. Brodie's did nothing and he's returning fire into the Numenorian warriors and takes down one Numenorian.
Who do you want? I'll take down that dude.
The guy who's got his shield in the air.
And the rest of the shooting didn't manage to get any wounds, so that goes into priority for next turn. Priority went to the last alliance, so that goes into Brodie's move. Now this is a really interesting point early in the game where Brodie wants to minimize his shooting casualties, and he's going to do that just by running as quickly as possible here. This is the board after the last alliance's move phase. You can see Gilgalad's hiding behind that building to stay safe from the shooting, which goes into Gondor's movement. So Henry, that's the end of your move phase. What's the thinking here? Not much has moved.
I've got a pretty good defensive position. I'm fighting where I wanted to fight at the start of the game. I'll probably move up to meet him at one point, rather than him charging on me. So I'll probably end up fighting around about here, but I'm okay with that.
Alright, well that goes into the shooting phase. Brodie left two archers back who had a shot, but failed to wound anything. I think it's probably worth just pushing them forwards to get the whole army there as quickly as possible. And Henry's return fire went really, really well, and he managed to take down two Numenorians. That's a big loss for Brodie. Alright, and that takes us into priority for the next turn.
Suction.
Alright, so that goes to you, Henry.
These guys have been the ways. They weren't on them, but I've got shooting priority. Yeah, I'm happy.
So, Henry not moving anything at all. Alright. Well, that goes to you, Brodie. And in Brodie's move, he didn't run everything forwards as fast as it could. I think that might be a mistake. So, Last Alliance responded to that move by staying back themselves. This is an interesting move from Brodie because I'm not convinced he's going to be able to win this shooting war, especially with his archers out in the open like that. So that takes us into the shooting phase with Henry going first.
Can you stop undermining me on your YouTube channel, sir? Can you stop that?
Everything at those archers. Baragon is green. These guys hitting on 4s but strength 3. One hit. 3 ones. 6 dead.
So it takes down an Elven Archer.
Judo?
And Henry's shooting just took down another Elven Archer, making this very costly for Brodie.
Cool, I'm happy.
Alright, and Brodie, how are you going to respond to that?
Hits. Yep. In the way. It's going front. Kills it. That was surprising.
Shieldsman?
Yep.
And this is our board after the shooting phase. Last Alliance has lost 5 models now, so pressure's on. Goes to priority.
Your priority.
So it goes to Last Alliance. Now Brodie, that's your move. Alright, so not moving?
Not moving.
Wow. Alright, goes into shooting phase again. So Brodie, do you have any shooting this turn?
No.
No? Alright, so that goes straight into the Minas Tirith shooting.
Spears. 1 wound.
Goes back to priority, which this turn goes to Minas Tirith. Is Henry going to stay still again? That's the question. Henry, you just pushed 2 knights back, but other than that, staying still again?
Yeah, you're happy just sitting there.
Alright, so Last Alliance got to prepare for another volley of shooting. That's your move, Brodie. And you can see as Brodie moves up here, some of his elves have ended up in the front row. Now this is because they're defense 6 instead of 5, making the front line a little bit more survivable. And this is the board after movement, so that goes into another shooting phase. Hopefully Last Alliance can come out of this unscathed because they're starting to run out of models.
Elves? Nothing.
And Henry's shooting this turn was completely ineffective. And whose priority is that?
Mine.
Goes to the Last Alliance. Alright, Brodie. Closing the gap now. And Brodie made the right choice here. Just run forwards. He needs to make it into combat. And this is the board after Brodie's movement. As you can see, the Last Alliance just pushed up. And now the question is Henry going to sit back and shoot again? Or is he going to run into battle?
I might even just cut.
If you fucking sit back for one more goddamn turn, bro.
They move full.
Half.
You're not half the man your father would to be Boromir. Where's Faramir
So-
when I need to shit talk someone?
The first charge of the game has finally happened.
Don't use that tone of me, boy.
Oh, sorry.
He's terrifying, isn't he?
So is this a courage test to charge Gilgalad?
Yeah.
Not good. And with that, combat has broken out. All of the Minas Tirith are charging in, and this is exactly what we've wanted to see this whole battle. So, it's a clash of lines. And in the shooting phase, each player lost a model. Impressive there's still shots when the line's that congested. And the combat phase started off with Brodie losing a fight, just getting pushed back. Not what he wanted. Followed by him losing a Numenorian, and then followed by him losing another Numenorian.
2 on the Boromir.
So, Boromir fighting.
5 with a banner.
Yep.
No, and that fight will go to Boromir. Now, Boromir did have the same fight value as them in there,
Yeah,
so
that's what I was thinking. I
could have lost a horse, but not the case.
4 on the knight with the charging.
Yep,
Nice.
a 4 will do it.
No, he's defense 5. Yeah, we'll
Defense 5, plus
Yeah.
1 to wound for the
Yeah.
lance. That is another dead Numenorian. That is the end of the turn, so that's going to go into priority. Brodie's lost 10 models so far. Henry's only lost 2, so he's going to need to put some work in to turn this round.
Yeah, fuck you.
So,
Heroics.
priority goes to Last Alliance.
I'm gonna counter whatever the fuck you call. I just want to charge it with Gilgalad, man.
Both of them declared heroic moves. Henry with Tyrion, Brodie with the heroic
That'd be
on
right.
the Numenorian captain, and who won that one?
I did.
Not me.
Alright,
I'm 1, 2, 3. I'm evil because elves makes sense.
makes sense. So, Kyrion's got to move first.
Yep. Gets everyone up to Baragon.
This was a pretty good heroic roll-off for Henry to win. Now that combat phase that just happened was the exact opposite of what Brodie wanted and what I was expecting. The Last Alliance is so good in combat because you've got the fight 6 on the elves paired with the strength 4 of the Numenorians. So I was expecting Brodie to put out 5 or 6 kills, and instead he took 4 casualties. Now, Henry here is just addressing the line. He's got Boromir into combat. He's got Gilgalad tied up with 1 sick guard. So even if he heroic combats, he'll only kill 2 models this turn, which just isn't ideal. Brodie's just shimmied around some of his spears. And looks like his archers won't be able to get into Baragon because of that water. They move half speed through it, whereas Baragon on a horse will move full speed through shallow water. Goes straight into shooting, so let's see those 2 shots going to Baragon. Unless you're...
Yes.
1. Up or down. Up. Fuck
And
you,
that's a
Baragon.
wound on Baragon.
Oh.
So Baragon only has 1 wound,
Oh.
1 fate, and
Oh!
a 1. Oh no, that's a hero down.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna give you a little. That was a solid effort on both sides. It kind of makes up for the atrocity that was the last 7 turns.
It's sort of the problem with Baragon. 1 straight shot.
That goes to the combat phase. So,
Fuck, that's it.
big question, do we have any heroics to declare? Gilgalad's used his first point of might on a heroic combat. That goes into that fight first.
Gilgalad.
Banner.
Unsurprisingly, that Citadel Guard has been taken down. Now, Brodie, where are you going to go with that heroic? Just charging into 2 more with Gilgalad.
Makes sense.
Alright, so Gilgalad fighting 2,
Fights.
and Gilgalad will win that fight. First
dead.
one's dead,
Yeah.
and the second one's dead. No surprise there, taking out 2 more warriors. And importantly, next turn, there's a gap between Gilgalad and Boromir, so we
Hey.
might see the clash of giant
That'd be
heroes.
really-
And we started off with Numenorians losing in a 3-on-1. That's got to feel bad. And then an elf pushed back some warriors, and the elves won the fight against Kyrian, but didn't wound him, just pushed him back. Next, Boromir killed an elf to finish off the turn. Brodie's now lost 12 models, meaning he's 1 off breaking. He's going to need to put some damage out. Henry's lost, is that 6 models?
Yep.
6 models. Alright, so let's see priority, because this is going to be a big turn. Goes to Gondor
Call it a heroic move.
With
Gilgalad.
with Gilgalad. Alright. And Henry, I'm guessing you're going to counter that.
We'll call it Kieran.
Alright, so Kieran calling in another heroic move. Let's see the roll off on a 1 or 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
It goes to Minas Tirith. And that is a 6. So, going to the Last Alliance. That's Brodie's move. Got to go first with Gilgalad. So, Gilgalad moving first, going into Boromir. Going to be a fight of giants in there. Brodie calling the move with Gilgalad was probably not the best choice in my opinion. He still has the Numenorian captain there that had 2 might. The only difference is the Numenorian captain can't really do anywhere near as much with his might as Gilgalad can. Gilgalad's going to need it to be able to kill Boromir if Brodie wants to win. And after his move, everything is just shimmying around in here. And he's also taking these archers up the side. Last turn they lost, but this turn they're just trying to tie up more Minas Tirith so they don't get trapped. So Fountain Court charging into Gilgalad. So that's going to peel Gilgalad off the fight with Boromir, meaning Boromir's just up against
I'm
the
putting the
Numenorian
spearman
captain.
in to grab the banner afterwards.
And into the combat phase, it started off with Gilgalad calling a heroic combat with his last point of might. Now this was a good play because Gilgalad currently isn't fighting Boromir, but he is fight 9, which means he's higher than Boromir. So by calling this heroic combat, he can threaten Boromir without being in combat with him at the start. Now, Henry did respond by calling a heroic strike with Boromir. This is really interesting because Boromir's not actually fighting someone with a higher fight than him, so if Brodie wants, he can just run away from Boromir and not worry about fighting with Gilgalad. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. And Henry also called a heroic combat with Beregond over on the flank. Roll to see which combat goes off first. 1, 2, 3 goes to
Mine?
Minas Tirith.
Damrod goes first.
Alright, so Damrod,
Oh,
a
did you call it
Citadel
combat?
Guard,
Sorry.
and a
Damrod, okay.
charging knight fighting against a single archer. This might be nasty for that archer.
Okay.
So that will break the last alliance.
Very good, very nice.
And with their move, they just wrapped around ready to fight again because of the heroic combat. You can see after Beregond's combat, just more Minas Tirith wrapping around. So that goes into Gilgalad's heroic combat.
Cool, leg one on the black, white is the spear support.
5 if I need to reroll.
Spear support, got a 6.
Alright,
5.
You've
Might,
got-
you don't have mites, you need to get the reroll.
Lord of the West.
Banner is in range.
Do you want to check that 3 inches? It's looking very hopeful.
Yep.
Yep.
Alright.
Banner. Got it.
Gets the 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck hell.
Defense 7 on that.
He rolled a 6.
Still
He
dead.
did.
He is dead. Alright. Now you've got to decide where Gilgalad's going to go.
Right there.
So he's going into Boromir, even though Boromir struck.
Oh yeah.
Alright, it's a risky play. Let's see Boromir's fight value. Fight 10. So Boromir's got 3 attacks. He's still got 4 points of might.
Horn of Gondor? He's got 5 points. He's only used
5
one.
points of might. Alright, Horn of Gondor, so take a courage test with Gilgalad Brodie.
Yes.
What defender? You got coach 7, don't you?
He's got will, that's right.
Alright, so Gilgalad spends a point of will not to lose to the Horn of Gondor.
That is too funny.
That's incredible.
That was outstanding.
Alright, let's
Oh.
see the 3 attacks from Boromir.
6.
6, so he has 1. And where are you going to strike?
Horse.
Alright,
Gilgalad?
Gilgalad's horse first.
No lance.
No lance, needing a 4.
That's a 6.
Yep.
So that's dead horse for Gilgalad. You take a throne rider.
He's forward good. And where's that last strike going to go?
It's probably going to go against Gilgalad.
Makes
I might
sense.
get a legal point. No.
And no,
So you've got
Gilgalad's just
the
lost a
model for
horse.
Gil.
And Gilgalad's horse has gone down, but he's still undamaged. And the rest of this turn progressed with Brodie losing more and more models. Even though he's got much better odds of winning these fights than Gondor, it's just not coming up his way. As you can see, models are being pulled off and pushed back in droves, and Brodie is running dangerously low on models. And with this last fight, Brodie won a few in a row, but this charging knight managed to kill an elf. Brodie is 1 off-courted. And in the next turn, Henry won the heroic move roll-off and is just using his movement to tie up everything that Brodie has. Importantly though, Boromir has charged into Gilgalad, giving the Elven Lord another chance to defeat the Gondorian general.
Alright.
And after the movement phase, Brodie doesn't have anything to move because they're all tied up. Into the combat, Henry, do you have any heroics to declare?
Heroic strike for me.
No surprise there. Brodie, do you have anything to call?
Fucking hilarious, Jacob.
Brodie is out of might with Gilgalad. 1 might left on the... No might
I've
left on
got
the
no
captain.
mic fucking.
Boromir
So-
got a 4 for his strike.
Boromir goes to fight 10, so he's got the lead on the fight value because Gilgalad's only fight 9. And let's see the fight.
Let's do the captain first.
The captain managed to win against those 3 charging knights of Minas Tirith, but he didn't manage to kill any of them. If he'd lost that, he was probably going to die, so Brodie should be happy with that. And Henry was just mopping up the last of Brodie's troops. This is the last turn. And the last fight of the turn, it's Gilgalad fighting Boromir. Let's see how much damage can get put out here. What's Gilgalad on there, Brodie?
He's on a 4.
Lords of
I'm
the
on a
West.
6.
That doesn't matter.
Alright, so...
I only saw the 4.
Boromir has 1. He's going to double his strikes. He's got a lance. So Gilgalad's defense 8. Normally Boromir would need 6s, but because of that lance, it's 5. He's got 8 dice here. Gilgalad's only got 1 fate as well.
1, 2, 3 wounds.
3 wounds.
Sorry, I was going to just use up my last
he's
one
dead.
point of mine.
Yep.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
that
4
will
wounds.
take down Gilgalad, quartering Brodie, ending the game
I'll have you know. It's
with
actually
a
cursed, huh?
12-0 victory.
I didn't expect it to go that way. I sort of played, I think, a bit of mind games with him, which may have been a bit mean of me, but it got me the W. No, it was a lot of fun. He's a great guy, great opponent, and looking forward to seeing how his game improves. So, a lot of fun.